Imagine waking up in a metropolis of 2 million inhabitants, where the water flowing into your home travels tens of kilometers through tunnels and stone bridges, pure water, ready to drink, bathe in, and keep you healthy. Today, in the 21st century, millions still struggle for safe drinking water and suffer from diseases that could be prevented with even minimal infrastructure. Fragile health systems allow epidemics to spread like wildfire. But nearly 2,000 years ago, one empire showed the world how to overcome these threats. Roman medicine, built on engineering, philosophy, and surgical practice, created a model of public health in ancient Rome that still echoes in our modern hospitals. Throughout this video, you'll see how aqueducts, baths, battlefield surgeries, and pharmacological treatises not only saved lives in antiquity, but also paved the way for today's medicine. But before we dive into these stories and curiosities of the Roman Empire, make sure you're subscribed to our channel and hit the bell icon. That way, you won't miss any of our videos full of secrets and surprises about ancient Rome. And stay until the end to discover how this knowledge survived Rome's fall, was preserved by the Byzantines, and re-emerged in the Renaissance, a continuous line of innovation that begins with Roman medicine and reaches our present day. Now let's understand where this unique blend of theory and practice originated, the starting point for the entire Roman medical revolution. Greek heritage and Roman practice, Roman medicine has deep roots in ancient Greece. In the 5th century BC, Hippocrates of Kos taught that careful patient observation and the theory of the four humours, blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile, were the foundation for understanding disease. In the Greek view, health was dictated by the balance of these fluids, and every symptom was analysed as a philosophical imbalance in academic debates. When these ideas reached Rome, they found a pragmatic society fascinated by concrete application. The aqueduct engineer did more than calculate flow rates. He made Hippocratic teaching accessible to millions by ensuring clean water reached public fountains, latrines, and reservoirs. The Roman governor invested in paved streets and sewer systems, not for vanity, but to protect the body politic from infections and fevers. For the Romans, it wasn't enough to talk about health. They had to build it. They incorporated Greek logic of observing the patient and fused it with their mastery of public works. Thus emerged the first concept of public health in ancient Rome, where preventing disease was as important as treating it. And it was this collective focus that drove the creation of monumental works capable of redefining disease prevention forever. Aqueducts and sanitation, the Romans were masters at bringing pure water over great distances. Systems like the Aqua Appia in 312 BC and the Aqua Claudia in 52 AD captured mountain spring water, spanned valleys, and erected imposing arches up to 30 meters high. This network supplied public fountains, baths, and even private homes, ensuring a steady flow even during droughts. To complete the cycle, they built the Cloaca Maxima, a massive sewer canal begun in the 6th century BC under King Tarquinius, Priscus, and expanded by later emperors. It channeled waste and dirty water into the Tiber River, keeping streets and homes free of filth. Public latrines connected to this system featured perforated stone benches where running water washed away contamination risks. Even without knowing about microbes, Romans understood that sanitation saved lives. The military medic, accustomed to cleaning soldiers' wounds in camps, applied the same principle in cities. A clean environment meant a healthier population. Thanks to this infrastructure, typhoid fever and dysentery epidemics were far less frequent in Rome than in other ancient capitals. This ensemble of works made Rome the health capital of the ancient world and elevated sanitary engineering to the most advanced form of prevention. But keeping the city clean was only part of the care. The body found its true refuge and treatment in the baths, where bathing became both medicine and social ritual. Thermal baths in Roman baths, the average middle-class citizen found more than entertainment. She received genuine health care. Complexes were divided into frigidarium, cold room, tepidarium, warm room, and caldarium, hot room, heated by a hypocauste system beneath the floors. Transitioning between heat and cold stimulated circulation, toned muscles, and helped prevent respiratory problems like sinusitis and bronchitis, which were common in large urban centers. Doctors inspired by Galen strolled through the halls, diagnosing minor ailments, joint pain, muscle tension, or mild inflammation. Massage rooms functioned as informal clinics where aromatic oils, often infused with lavender and rosemary, were applied as balms and salves. Sea salt scrubs were also used to cleanse the skin and enhance circulation, while light exercises in the palestra, gym area, reinforced physical recovery. Beyond direct physical benefits, the baths created a vibrant social environment. Friendships formed by the pools. Political debates and business transactions took place in the corridors. This communal interaction was essential for mental well-being, strengthening a sense of belonging and reducing anxiety, contributing to truly holistic health. For Rome, caring for the body went hand in hand with caring for the mind and social bonds. Meanwhile, on the battlefields, legionaries relied on another kind of medical care. Battlefield surgeries, Roman military medics carried bronze kits stocked with instruments that now seem rudimentary, but were remarkably effective. Forceps, scalpels, probes, and even amputating saws. In each camp, tents were converted into makeshift operating rooms, lit by torches and warmed by clay brazier fires. When a legionary suffered an open fracture, surgeons used small saws to remove bone fragments and then splinted the limb with wooden supports. For head injuries, trepanation, drilling a hole in the skull, was performed to relieve intracranial pressure, reduce swelling, or drain clots. Despite the risks, this technique saved lives that otherwise would have been lost on the battlefield. Without modern anesthesia, compresses soaked in wine mixed with opium or henbane were applied to dull the pain and help control bleeding. After the procedure, honey and resin salves sped healing, while massages and bandages protected the wounded from infection. Each intervention was swift and precise. Surgeons knew that incapacitated soldiers could break entire formations. The efficiency of these treatments became legendary among the legions, drawing civilian physicians eager to learn campaign techniques. This union of frontline courage and medical skill shows that for Rome, caring for the wounded was as strategic as moving legions. And among all those physicians, one name stood out and influenced medicine for over 1,000 years. Have you ever wondered how this event shaped an empire's fate? Smash that like button now and help us keep bringing you stories like this. Galen, the imperial physician Galenus, better known as Galen, was born in Pergamum in 129 AD and arrived in Rome at age 28, quickly winning the favor of Emperor Marcus Aurelius's court. Since human dissection was forbidden, he turned to monkeys, pigs, and dogs to study anatomy. His dissections revealed the nervous and vascular systems, identified muscles and internal structures, and laid a solid foundation for understanding the human body. His theory of the four humors, blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile, integrated physical, emotional, and dietary aspects. Bloodletting, prescribed to remove excess humor, came with dietary regimens and recommendations. For exercise and therapeutic baths, although we now recognize the limits of these practices, they represented an innovative, holistic model in their time, uniting body and mind. Galenus also produced a vast library of medical texts, including treatises on pharmacology, physiology, and dietetics. Works like De Usu Partium and De Naturalibus Facultatibus crossed cultural borders. They were translated by Oribasius in the Byzantine Empire, reshaped by Islamic physicians such as Avicenna and reintroduced to medieval Europe. For over a millennium, his teachings guided universities and hospitals, becoming mandatory references in medical curricula. Galen's influence proves that a well-founded theory can survive scientific revolutions. His integrated vision of health inspired practices that, even when modified over centuries, kept the investigative spirit of Roman medicine alive. But ancient Rome was not all theory. It was in pharmacopoeia that medical practice burst with color and flavor. Pharmacology and natural remedies Dioscorides, in his classic De Materia Medica, c. 60–70 AD, catalogued over 600 plants and their therapeutic uses. He described the use of opium for severe pain, honey to speed wound healing, and herbs like thyme and sage to fight respiratory infections. This work became the definitive pharmacological compendium in Europe and the Islamic world for more than 1,500 years. Ancient Rome blended Egyptian and Greek knowledge, mixing local ingredients such as olive oil, saffron, and vinegar with Eastern spices like cumin and incense. Roman pharmacists prepared ointments, poultices, and pills, standardizing dosages to treat inflammation, fevers, and digestive ailments. Apothecaries, often situated near temples or forums, ensured continuous access to these remedies. Beyond plants, mineral substances like cinnabar and salt, and animal products such as crocodile fat in exotic formulas were used. Honey, a famous natural antiseptic, combined with resins and essential oils to create versatile salves. This hands-on pharmacology shows how highly Romans valued direct observation of nature. When the empire fell, De Materia Medica survived in Byzantine monasteries and reached medieval Western Europe, influencing pharmacopoeias well into the modern age. As late as the 16th century, its principles were taught in the first medical schools, yet while Rome refined formulas in laboratories, popular wisdom and faith often offered immediate, accessible cures for everyone. Limits and medical missteps. Despite its advances, Roman medicine also had significant flaws. The four-humor theory often led to excessive bloodletting, believing that removing impure blood restored balance. Already weakened patients could slip into shock or die of anemia. Moreover, ignorance of germs made any incision a risk. Dressings of wool soaked in wine or honey helped clean wounds, but without proper sterilization, many treatments led to septicemia. Physicians used red-hot irons for cauterization to stop bleeding, a painful procedure not always effective. On the spiritual side, mystical religious practices mingled with medicine. Amulets, charms, and offerings to the god Asclepius were common. Patients visited temples, slept in the abaton, and awaited healing dreams. Those rituals sometimes produced placebo effects, offering psychological comfort, but at other times delaying truly necessary surgeries. These historical missteps remind us that even with technique and scholarship, medical science requires constant review and adaptation. Lessons that remain vital in modern medicine, where hygiene protocols and clinical research correct outdated practices. But healing didn't always come from physicians. Midwives, folk healers, and religious leaders often brought practical, accessible relief to communities. Popular medicine and faith in the farthest reaches of the empire, health was often sustained by local wisdom. The midwife used herbs like peppermint and rosemary in teas or poultices, coupled with chants and prayers to ease childbirth. These remedies helped relieve pain and reduce bleeding, saving mothers and infants when official doctors were unavailable. Folk healers passed down oral traditions, preparing calendula poultices for inflammation, lavender salves to calm nerves, and fennel blends for digestive troubles. As they applied these treatments, they recited incantations, creating a trusting atmosphere that enhanced therapeutic effects. In Asclepian temples, called Asclepia, treatment followed another logic. Patients slept in the abaton, a sacred chamber for healing dreams. The Asclepius priest interpreted these visions and prescribed diets, baths, or massages, uniting body, mind, and spirit in a single therapy. This holistic approach filled gaps in the official system, ensuring even remote villages received some form of care, whether through the midwife, the folk healer, or the temple priest. Healing rested on a blend of plants, rituals, and faith, a resilience cornerstone for the Roman people. But when Rome's giant began to crumble, this entire care network collapsed. Collapse of the health system. In the 5th century, the Western Roman Empire buckled under waves of invasions. First the Visigoths in 410 AD, then the Vandals in 455 AD. Without stable leadership or resources, upkeep of aqueducts like the Aqua Claudia was abandoned and channels broke or clogged. The baths, once hubs of hygiene and social life, shut their doors. The Cloaca Maxima sewer clogged with debris and refuse. Flooded streets became breeding grounds for disease. Cholera, typhoid fever, and dysentery ravaged the population once more. At the same time, public libraries and archives were looted or deserted. Manuscripts by Galen and Dioscorides, the guardians of medical knowledge, were lost in fires and raids. With no texts, surgical practices and pharmacological protocols fell into disuse. Cities shrank and medical knowledge reverted to local levels. Untreated wells, home remedies and superstitions took hold, marking the start of a sanitary winter in the West. For centuries, public health infrastructure, aqueducts, baths, latrines, lay in ruins, and Roman practical medicine reappeared only timidly in isolated enclaves. It was a period of regression, in which a millennium of advances was forgotten, while Western Europe struggled to survive without Rome's public health model. But as the West sank into sanitary chaos, the light of Roman medicine shone across the Adriatic in the Byzantine Empire, where medical knowledge found new life. Byzantine and Islamic legacy. When Western Rome declined, the Byzantine Empire took on preserving medical heritage. In Constantinople, Xenodochia, state-run public hospitals, offered free care to the poor and sick. These institutions used aqueducts to supply clean water to wards, housed in-house pharmacies stocked with Galenic recipes, and employed teams of physicians trained in imperial academies. In the 4th century, Oribasius compiled his 70-volume Collectiones Medicae, translating and summarizing Galen and others. This compendium became an authoritative reference throughout Eastern Christendom, ensuring continuity of Roman teaching. In the Islamic world, scholars like Hunayn ibn Ishaq translated the works of Oribasius, Galen, and Hippocrates into Arabic. In the 9th century, Al-Razi wrote the Kitab al-Hawi, compiling clinical case data. In the 11th century, Avicenna published the Canon of Medicine, a synthesis of Greek, Persian, and Arab medical knowledge. These texts circulated in Baghdad, Damascus, and Cordoba, where medical schools flourished. During the Renaissance, Latin translations of these works returned to the West, inspiring universities such as Salerno and Montpellier, and reigniting scientific vigor in Europe. Today, modern hospitals with surgical wings, pharmacies, potable water systems, and sewage networks reflect Rome's vision of public health as a collective right. The use of standardized protocols, patient records, and medical libraries also traces back to the discipline established almost 2,000 years ago. The journey of Roman medicine proves that innovation and pragmatism can transcend eras. If you enjoyed this time-traveling adventure and want more fascinating stories, subscribe to the channel, hit like, and share this video with your friends. That way, you help us keep bringing high-quality historical content. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video about ancient Rome and its magnificent empire.